Here's the story of a bunch of podcasts who were bringing Cubby content to the world. All of them did their own show. Unconnected, obsessive baseball nerds. It's the story of a bunch of Cubs fans who are consolidating all their shows. They're uniting, doing it together, so we all can grow. Cup of Cubby Blues combining with Sunranto, Baseball Rabbit Hole and Cubs PS Plus. With Cubs fun and breaks behind the ivy, they're all teaming up to be the Bleacher Bunch, the Bleacher Bunch. We love the Cubs, that's the way we became the Bleacher Bunch.
Welcome to the Bleacher Bunch here on the Fans First Sports Network. Bringing you such great shows as Cup of Cubby Blue, Baseball Rabbit Hole, Sunranto, Cubs PS Plus, Bricks Behind the Ivy. And tonight we are joined by yet another podcaster, a longtime Sunranto extraordinaire, really is what I'll call you. You were more than a performer. You were an extraordinaire. Crawly is here from the Fly the W podcast, amongst other things. And Sarah Sanchez is here from Bleed Cubby Blue and Cup of Cubby Blue. And how's everybody doing tonight? Sarah's watching a football game. She's in the wrong sport.
I'm not in the wrong sport. The Cubs are off. The Brewers game already happened. And now I am watching the season opener for the NFL between the Cowboys and the Eagles, like most of America, okay? Like, I would bet there are people in the chat watching the football game, too.
Crawly, did you have any idea that football even started tonight?
I had no clue, man. I thought it was Sunday.
Yeah,
and so, I mean, it's, I don't know. Like I said, when the baseball season's over, then I kind of switch over a little bit, but right now it's like, the NL wild card's going bonkers. I'm watching the Giants all of a sudden just go on a little bit of a run. I mean, it's there's a lot going on, and I'm excited about how this postseason is going to shape up.
Cubs are in the pole position in that wild card spot. Unfortunately, it's not.
Doesn't it seem weird? It still seems weird. It's like I've never felt so not enthusiastic about a 20-win Cub team, 20 games over 500, and it's like meh.
And we all feel the same way, I think. I think Sarah was kind of echoing that the last time we spoke, is just like, who cares about them? They're boring.
I went there. Yeah, I went there last night. I was at the game last night, and it was just like, when you think about that meme with the stick and you're like, do something. Like literally, like, I think they had like 4 singles. One of them was a bunt single. And the only reason they scored a run is because, the Braves left fielder threw one right into the damn camera well.
Yeah, it was wasn't it Castro that drove it into? Like,
Castro drove it in.
Why is Castro playing? Like, why did you call up Kevin Alcantara at all? If not, so that he can play center field when Pete Crow Armstrong needs a day out. Like, what are we doing? What is how is that possible? Like, why is Kevin Alcantara here?
I don't know, to watch baseball, apparently, like the rest of us. He's basically doing the same thing you and I are doing at Wrigley Field, just watching the game.
Yeah, he's Kevin Alcantara.
Willie Castro does not need reps in center. Sorry, Crawly. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I could see Kevin in the dugout yesterday texting Chance.
Exactly. Which other people are doing here. Great setup there. Joey's here saying champs with an M. So, but that's not going to win anything. So maybe you better try again, Joey, with your thumbs got in the way of entering the contest properly. But Dominic says chance with an N, and that's the way it should be. And also Dominic also says the team is so sleepy. But Crawly, you had a Fly the W show today. You went live and you debuted a interview that you did of our good friend, Ronnie Woo Woo. Talk about a Cubs extraordinaire. I mean, he's been at it since before any of us were born. I remember being a kid, and in the 80s, Ronnie Woo Woo would come around wooing, and you were so excited to, get a glimpse of Ronnie, and we'd all run up to him and, hey, it's Ronnie Woo Woo. The adults, I had no idea how the adults were feeling about it at the time. I didn't know how the adults felt, but I know the kids, we liked it. We thought he was the mascot. Like, we didn't even know he wasn't a player. Like, we thought he was somehow connected with the team, right? I mean, at least I thought that as a kid. But you had a chance to visit with him recently, and I don't know. Tell me, what'd you guys talk about? I mean, we'll play a couple of clips, and I have a picture of you guys together there.
Yeah,
signed your
he
W.
actually he got that for me. He got that W flag and he signed it for me. And I've known Ronnie. I mean, obviously, like you said, we go back to the 80s talking about seeing Ronnie, and then actually starting to talk to him in the 90s. So, I mean, you're talking, I've known Ronnie for 30 years. And so he always kind of reminded me of like the Forrest Gump of Cub fans. He just kind of shows up like I remember one time, like where, all of a sudden Theo gets announced and there's Ronnie Woo Woo like walking in the background. Dusty Baker gets fired. Dusty literally hugs Ronnie Woo Woo on his way out with a cardboard box of his shit from his desk. It's like, I just thought to myself, like, this guy is just absolutely just everywhere and anywhere. And he's got a really good heart. And, I got to go see him. He's at the Pearl in Evanston is where he's at. And it's been tough, obviously, for somebody that loves the Cubs as much as he did. I went when I was in Cubs convention. That was this last one, 2025. He wasn't looking great. And then all of a sudden I came and I saw him on Sunday when we were all getting our crap together to leave the hotel, and he was in a wheelchair. He was at the hospital during the weekend. And I was like, what are you doing here? I'm like, maybe, he just doesn't want to sit it out. And unfortunately, obviously, because of health issues, he hasn't been able to go to a Cubs game all year. And so, a lot of people, obviously, Janet is someone that's really important in his life, and she does a remarkable job of making sure that he's taken care of. Dan, I know you've stopped by. Captain Cubbo, Stu McVicker from Club 400. He put a TV in there and gave his gave Ronnie his Roku password or whatever, so he could watch the games. And so it's amazing. Wait.
Does Tom Ricketts know about this? Because, it sounds like they're double dipping on the marquee subscription there. I don't know.
Yeah, that means we're not going to be able to sign Kyle Tucker anymore. But what ends up happening is, when you visit with Ronnie, the body, I mean, his health, obviously physically isn't great, but mentally he's still really sharp. Like, he was very well aware of what was going on, how many games the Cubs were back, what Milwaukee was doing. Like, he definitely knew what was going on. And we just sat down and we watched the Brewers game. I think the Brewers versus Arizona game. And, and then we watched the Cubs game. It's just one of those things that it's great because people are wonderful letters, presents. The Lost Boys made a beautiful. And so, how those places are, Danny. It's just like, sometimes they can be a little drab and sad looking, and people sending things in, and Janet's done a good job of kind of just making the room feel like home, And so the reason I wanted to do this interview is because for the first time since last year, 2024, the last game of the season, Ronnie will be coming back to Wrigley. Now, it's not going to be like most people remember it. He's going to need some assistance. He's going to need some space and stuff like that. But he's really excited, and he just hopes that someone cares that he's showing up. And we want to make sure, and I'm going to have it at Crawly's Cubs, just kind of the details of, Ronnie's going to kind of go into of all places, the VIP entrance. And
I was wondering about that. He's going to go into the front by the marquee. They're going to let him do that. That's, they've been known to keep him out of certain areas of the ballpark like that. I think Crawly's frozen. Sarah, are you seeing Crawly as frozen, or is it just me?
He just unfroze.
Oh, you just unfroze Crawly.
All right. What were you asking now?
Well, they come in. They're going to let him in through where you go into the 1914 club, right next to. And now there's an elevator there that takes you up to the suites, which is where he's going to be sitting. And the Pearl, they arranged for all this to happen too, because the Pearl, medical director, or not the director, but the director of the Pearl, is a big Cubs fan. Knew about Ronnie, is one of the reasons Ronnie got to stay at the Pearl, which is one of the nicer places, because the guy's a Cubs fan. So the plan is to at 11:30 around there is kind of the plan. Which watch both of our Twitters for like more specific information that morning on Sunday morning. But if you want to go in and cheer Ronnie Woo Woo on, it'll be around 11:30 a.m. at that front apron entrance right next to the marquee. Correct? Like in between where
between Marquee and Gallagher Way.
Yeah. So
Between
we'll be over there.
Yeah.
You'll see us there because we'll be wooing. You'll hear us first. Sarah, just out of curiosity, how did you come to know Ronnie Woo Woo? Like, do you remember the first time you met Ronnie Woo Woo? Because you're not from Chicago in the same way that Crawly and I like grew up knowing about this guy. Did you know about him as a child?
I don't think I knew about him as a child. I think I started, like, he was kind of one of these characters that would appear in newspaper articles sometimes. I probably remember that starting in the mid 2000s or so. But I honestly, I know Ronnie through y'all, just through different things that Danny has done in the neighborhood for his birthday, or like, him coming to the Bleacher Bum shows and just being at the park. I mean, I don't think I can pinpoint the first time that I met Ronnie. I just think he's just been there with the entire crew of like Wrigley standard people. We have a crew of regulars. It was wild actually earlier this season when Norm from Cheers passed away. When George went. Thank you. And the reason that Cheers comes to mind, they played the entire Cheers theme song during an inning break, and it was an organ like musical medley. So it was just like really well done, and it took up like the whole 2.5 minutes. They played almost the entire song. And sometimes I was thinking about it. I was like, Wrigley kind of is like our little place where everybody knows our name. Do you know what I mean? It's like we have I can't walk 10 feet, 15 feet in that ballpark. I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, what's up? We know everybody, and Ronnie is one of the people we know. That's how I know Ronnie.
I remember, this is one that cracks me up, and I think a lot of people, it was like early 2000s. It was Chip Carey and Steve Stone. And someone thought it would be fun to bring Ronnie, and this had to have been like first row behind home plate. And, they got the field mics up there, and it was literally like 9 innings of Ronnie wooing in Milwaukee. And somebody's got it. I know it's on YouTube somewhere. And literally like Steve Stone is starting to get irritated about it's like, okay, Ronnie, we hear you, And Ronnie and I, when I did the interview, we talked a lot about just kind of the different phases of his Cubs fandom. And I sent you a clip of 69 because, of course, 69.
Nice.
But, the one that I guess for me that kind of rang a bell was Harry Carey used to call him leather lungs. And it was just because of the ability to just literally it's like he doesn't even take breath. It's just unbelievable.
Well, the funny thing about his wooing is that the woo part is actually an intake of air. It's an inhale, because he goes, I can't even do it without coughing, but it's like Cubs, woo, Cubs, woo. Like that's how he can keep going, because it tickles my throat terribly. But for some reason he can do it. Cubs, woo. Can you do that woo while breathing in?
No, I cannot.
Can I hear you try just for
my no, we're not gonna try.
I gotta start choking it here.
Yeah, I don't need to choke on camera, thanks.
Yeah, it's because you can, anyway. Why don't I play one of those clips, shall I? That I don't know which one's which. So this one's a minute. I'll play the longest one first. The 2 minutes.
No, play the longest one last.
Play the longest one last. Well, I'll play the longest one on the way to break is what I'll do. Maybe. I don't know what I'll do. All right. So I'll play the shortest one first. Here it is.
And so take me back to the 1960s. And if you remember 69 and the Bleacher Bums out there, what were your memories? Because I've seen some pictures of you in the bleachers at that time. You were a young, handsome man. How much fun was it during that run in 1969?
Oh, that was amazing. When Willie Smith hit that home run. And they won the ball game, and they got everybody going. because Cubs fans been coming hoping, wishing we had a good team. And that '69 Cubs was a darling. It was good for Chicago, and we just wonder for the Cub fans, you know. In that era, back then and there, it was just amazing. People come out just to see the Cubs, you know. And Jack Brickhouse was calling games then, back then. It was just amazing that to see that in the 60s, 50s and 60s, to live that down. And that's where the Cubs really took off after that 69 season.
Yeah, and take a look, and you can find these pictures of Ronnie in the 60s in the bleachers. He didn't have the whole uniform getup. He was just a young kid out in the bleachers hollering. And so, you know, he was, you know, there's certain times where, like, when I was kind of watching him during the interview, where his eyes would really just light up, you know, and 69 went talking about that season and Willie Smith, and he loved Jack Brickhouse a lot, you know, or Ronnie, you know, loved Jack Brickhouse a lot. But, you know, there's just certain things. It's funny. There's a moment where I was talking to him. I'm like, you know, hey, you're 84. I'm like, you remember your 80th birthday party when we went to Cubby Bear? And his eyes said, oh yeah, I remember that one. He had just an absolute blast.
That was so. That's when I went because his birthday is on Halloween, and
Right.
so I went as biblical losses because that's right after which I dressed as Jesus and put L's all over my body. That was a good and yeah, no, that was a really fun party. We sang "Hey Jude" as "Hey Woo." And then at the end, we had the whole Cubby Bear singing "Woo Woo 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 Woo, Hey Woo." I mean, we went on for a while. Ronnie Woo Woo remember he was hula hooping. Remember we had some
at 80. At 80.
Yeah, man.
It's just the life of that guy. So this is a true to God story. You know, I love Cubs convention, and they used to have it over at the Hilton years and years ago. And this is probably late 90s, early aughts, something like that. And they had, I mean, the Hilton was the perfect venue. But like a lot of times we don't go over to Buddy Guy's because it was right on Michigan Avenue, like an after party type thing, stuff like that. But there was always this thing that I never knew anything about. It was called the Cubs Rock and Roll Review. So I said, interesting. I think I need to check it out once. I'm like, does anyone want to go to the Cubs Rock and Roll Review with me? And everyone's like, fuck no, we're not going to just waste our time and shit like that. So I go, and I was probably about the youngest person in the room by like 50 years. Like, it's not even close. It literally was all like kind of people that they pushed in with wheelchairs to kind of sit there. And they had like an old Corvette out there. And like the front office was like in this little corner hobnobbing and all this shit. And they had a Blues Brothers cover band, guy playing Jake and Elwood, and they're singing the songs. And I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember Sha-Na-Na, the band Sha-Na-Na.
Oh yeah, with Bowser.
Okay, so Bowser's at this Cubs convention. He's at the Rock and Roll Review, and he's doing this.
Yeah, that was his thing. He was always doing that. And he was like a nouveau greaser, right?
Yes.
It was like the 70s, but he looked like he was from the 50s.
It was the 50s revival with Happy Days and Sha-Na-Na and all that shit. So I see Bowser, and he's doing this good job. He's doing that whole thing and all this shit. And so all of a sudden, it is there's these two cougars that had to have been that wasn't even a term back then, but they had to have been like late 50s, early 60s with big glasses of red wine, and they're just looking to party. And it literally looked like Night at the Roxbury, where the two guys are kind of banging into the poor woman, and one was Bowser and the other was Ronnie Woo Woo. And I'm just sitting here just watching this, and I'm like, I really, this is really a train wreck. It's everything I imagined it would be. I went to the Rock and Roll Review once and never again.
That sounds like the place to be.
Absolutely
not. If you got Bowser and Ronnie Woo Woo and Cougars, could have a wild night.
Absolutely not.
It wouldn't even cost you that much.
You could not pay me to go to this thing.
Oh,
yeah, it luckily died a death, but it was a something back in the day. If anyone remembers that one,
I don't even go to bingo. Like, you think I'm going to go to the Rocket Roll?
bingo's the greatest.
Yeah, Crawly is not a big bingo fan or anything. Why don't I play this?
I said that on purpose to
yeah, just to get on him. I know we missed you at Ranter Fest because we did play the bingo, but it was like a total dud without you. Like I'm like, it's not fun without Crawly's bingo enthusiasm.
You got to have the enthusiasm, and that's what makes Wayne Messmer so special. And then in this last Cubs Con, not to deviate from Ronnie real quick, but I remember I talked to Wayne. I talked to Wayne and Kathleen and the family and stuff after they're done with it, and they're having drinks. And I was talking to Wayne, and there was just this amazing moment at Cubs convention. Obviously, we know Rhino was sick, and this was his last Cub Con in 2025. And the one thing I remember about it is that like Rhino has been to like pretty much almost every Cubs Con except for when he was the Phillies manager. He wasn't there a couple of years. And Rhino's sitting there, and what I noticed and when I knew it was bad is just like the way that he was taking everything in for like the last time. Like he like just walking around, and he was just like just trying to absorb everything. And we were at CubsCon bingo, and so we always get like 4 or 5 tables because we got a large group, and we're sitting there, and we were in the front. And you know how like if something happens, like there's like a murmur that starts in the back of the room and then it like waves forward. Everyone's like, like you're hearing all this noise, and we're getting up and we can't see anything because the room is humongous. And then all of a sudden we take a look, and it's Ryne Sandberg who's walking through the crowd. And he, big stars never. I mean, Bobby D will go there. John Lieber will go to CubsCon bingo, but the big guys never go to CubsCon bingo. And so all of a sudden Rhino's sitting up there, and he goes up, and Wayne has a number 23 jersey, Cub jersey, and they do auctions in between the games, and it's for Cub charities, and the prices go crazy. And all of a sudden, Rhino comes up there, and they got the 23 jersey, and Wayne Messmer, and now a number 23 jersey, the number of the great Ryne Sandberg, and he's doing his whole Wayne thing. And Rhino comes up, and the place is going nuts, standing ovation. And all of a sudden Rhino's holding the jersey, and then all of a sudden everyone's yelling, put it on. Rhino puts the jersey on. He looks at Wayne, and I got this all on tape. He goes, now it's game worn, which anyone in the memorabilia business knows that jacks up the price. And so the bidding went to $11,000 for this.
I remember this. Yeah, that was wild, man.
And Rhino signed it, and the losing bidder bid like $10,500 was his last bid. I had him on the Fly the W, the guy that won it actually. And then the other guy, Wayne's like, would you honor that $10,500? And they had another jersey. So I asked Wayne about it later, and he's like, Rhino was kind of backstage, and we were talking, and he said, Wayne, all these Cubs cons we've been to together, because Wayne's been to every single one. He said, I'd never been to Cubs bingo. And Wayne says, he's like, no time like the present, Rhino, why don't you show up? And then all of a sudden it became like this thing, and Cubs charities found out, and that's why they got the 223 jerseys to auction. Like they like ran and grabbed a couple 23 jerseys. And so that was the thing. But that when you said Cubs Con bingo, I hadn't thought about that since he passed away that moment. But yeah, Danny, I think you were there too with me.
Yeah.
And that was
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like you could see Ronnie Woo Woo and Cougars dancing with Bowser. Or you could see Ryne Sandberg at his only Cubs bingo. Yeah, that was a magical moment. And that's the thing about like everybody that comes around the Cubs convention, that comes around Wrigley, hangs out. Like, what other stadium do you like hang out for hours outside on the corner? Like we do, like next to Ball Hawk Corner there by Ken's house, and just with Dave there, and now the Mom Shrine and all the ball hawkers and stuff. Like, that's so unique. Sometimes I'm there for like, I'm like, oh, I got to go. And I say, I got to go like 10 times. And I get into another conversation with somebody.
Sometimes you got to just Irish goodbye it. Or you never leave.
I never leave. I oftentimes have been the last one, and like Dave's packing up his van and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I guess, time to go. But I do enjoy it. Like, I think that could be a podcast or in and of itself, or a YouTube channel or something. We have it. There's Trent who does the Ball Hawk channel, which everybody should follow. But anyway, Ronnie Woo Woo's oftentimes hanging out right there on that street too. So I'll always picture him out there. He was one of the first ones to ever put I had flowers at the mom shrine. Him and Janet came and they brought fake flowers. And I was like, what a great idea. Now they're long gone. They got blown away in the ice and snow of winter. But that's how I've been dealing with Mom Shrine from then on in. And it looks like $1 million, all Ronnie Woo Woo's idea.
It's a good idea.
So,
and he's just creative and he's funny and he never, there's another one that's like about a minute long. If you could play that one.
Yeah, I'll play it right now. Here it is.
You had a special relation with Buck O'Neil, and Buck O'Neil was obviously the coach of the Kansas City Monarchs. And when baseball integrated, he became an advisor, and then later on became the first African-American coach in baseball. Tell me about your relationship with Buck O'Neil.
Well, I used to go in the front office. He worked at the front office. I used to go there and talk to him all the time. He said, I want to hear you today, Ronnie. He said, well, be proud. Preacher, I said, sure, we want these Cubs to win. Sure. He said, be proud. And I was like that. So it was just, he was my mentor for the love of the game. He said, one thing you do, you promoting the Cubs and you promoting baseball. Because back then, we didn't have the TV like we got in cable like we got now. It's all different now. But back then, my voice was the voice for the fans. I was for the fans, and the players knew I was behind them all the way. And they get a thrill to hear my voice when they up to bat or what's going on, or they make a good play. It make them feel good. So it was just that I just took it to a higher level. And I love baseball. Buck told me, you go out there and you cheer for them Cubs. And you wear your uniform and be proud. Be proud. And I always remember that Buck said, you go through life, it don't cost nothing to be nice. And I always remember Buck telling me that.
So some memories that Ronnie had of the late, great Buck O'Neil. And, Ronnie has a great relationship with Bob Kendrick, who I know has been on the show. He's been on my show, one of the great voices of baseball, and he has a great podcast himself. But they, Bob still has a good relationship with Ronnie and stuff like that. And he really took a lot of Buck's words and wisdom to heart. Ronnie did, as far as, I know just not being angry and just kind of having fun sometimes with baseball. I think we all know that there's a lot of craziness and sad things in this world. And, it's one of those things that when I go to Wrigley, I just want, I'll get frustrated sometimes and I'll get annoyed, but generally, I just love being there. I love seeing you guys. I love hoping to see something special. Even though the game sucked last night, 9th inning, couple guys get on, you get that, maybe something's going to happen. Maybe, and that'll never go away. And I feel like sometimes, maybe because of social media, is that people sometimes just get so goddamn angry about shit. It's like, it's just for fun. If the worst thing in the world is that the Cubs couldn't hit Josh Elders yesterday, then then your life ain't too bad. Whatever. Didn't happen yesterday. Sorry. But have some fun and just enjoy it.
Well, you know how much we love Buck, and we learned a lot about Buck O'Neil in 2020 when we did the John Baker Day talks with Bob Kendrick, and also who else? Doug Glanville was on a show, and of course John was there. But we all became big fans of Buck, and we're shocked how the Cubs did not respect the legacy of Buck O'Neil or celebrate it. They kind of let the Royals do that, and and Buck was a big part of the Royals, but he was a huge part of the Cubs too. So many of the black stars that the Cubs had in the 50s and 60s and beyond, 70s, 80s. Really all the way until he went to the Royals. And
let's put it this way:
Lee Smith, Billy Williams, Ernie Banks.
Right. And so that's the thing that is frustrating, is because no offense, but Buck didn't do a ton for the Royals. Right. He was kind of more just like an honorary, which is why didn't the Cubs do that? You know what I mean? Why not just give him some honorary title, give him some office somewhere? It didn't have to be a big thing. But really, it was Buck O'Neil that was instrumental in bringing Ernie Banks to Chicago. He managed Ernie in Kansas City
as a Monarch.
The Monarch. And he's the one when Billy Williams quit baseball, who'd they send to go get him? Buck O'Neil. Okay, so you don't have Billy Williams. Who scouted Lee Smith? Lou Brock. Go down the list. There's probably no one that's had more of a modern day impact on the actual organization than Buck O'Neil. And so it's just really, they have him in the little Cubs Hall of Fame thing, which they did now, but they didn't put him in until that first class when they revived it. And what was it, 21 or 22, when it was Pat, it was Buck, and it was Jose
Cardinal.
Yeah. Crawly froze again, but we knew who you meant. Crawly, we were there too. It was I can pick up this rant all day. I agree. The Cubs should honor Buck O'Neil and his legacy with the Cubs for sure. Crawly, pick it up. I was just retweeting you.
No, yeah. So I mean, for me, just the fact that a lot of I think Sarah, I heard you one time. I think you and I were at Lou Sella's talk with the Ryan Sandberg statue when Lou did a great speech. I love Lou, great friend of mine, and there's obviously everyone knows there's another pedestal there. Who's going to go there? And we all kind of threw our little hats in the ring, and Sarah was the one that said, "Hey, we should put Buck O'Neil on the statue at Wrigley," and so. It's
right next to his guys, right next to Ernie and Billy. Like he belongs in that row.
Yeah. And so, it's great. And the fact that, like I said, think about it. When you talk.
Freezing again. It's that suburban internet.
And one of the greatest baseball storytellers in the history of the game. Like I was actually just listening to a podcast interview with Ken Burns, and baseball, like just watching the 9-inning series that's now like the top of the 10th and the bottom of the 10th too. By the way, he owes us another episode. He said that the only thing that would get him to do another inning was the Cubs winning the World Series. And I was just like, TikTok, Ken, like we need to get on that. The Cubs won the World Series and there was a pandemic, and I feel like you can do another inning now. Anyway, he was, I think about how he got that amazing footage of Buck talking about the game and telling his stories about the game. And if you have not watched the Buck O'Neil interviews in Ken Burns' baseball, go back and watch them. Just like take some time, and it's incredible.
Well, and I mean, Buck O'Neil, the fact that he was like hanging out with Ronnie Woo Woo back in the 60s when Ronnie was a young fan and inspiring him to like keep living his dream and stuff. Janet told me a story that Buck O'Neil gave Ronnie the wristwatch off his arm.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
Yeah. That, and I don't know if Crawly can confirm this for me. Crawly's back.
Welcome back.
Janet, I'm sure, told you the story about Buck O'Neil giving his wristwatch to Ronnie Woo Woo. Have you heard this one?
Yeah. And yeah, Ronnie has all these interesting little gifts from Buck that you see there. And so, it's just a great connection. And like I said earlier, there's certain things that would make Ronnie's eyes just light up, and talking about Buck O'Neil was definitely.
And when Buck died, there's in the Kansas City Star or whatever it is, it's Ronnie's picture at on next to Buck's casket. Yeah. And it says, and the headline says, "Goodbye, old friend." So like Ronnie, talk about the Forrest Gump, how about the Hillary Clinton rally? And then well, first of all, he single-handedly lost that election for her, I think, just by wearing that Hillary 16.
We're not blaming Ronnie Woo Woo for Donald Trump.
Come on, blame somebody.
No.
But he was just always, just a lot of fun. And so when I talked to Ronnie, I did want to kind of touch on some subjects that, hey man, I don't want to, first off, Ronnie just believes. He believes in the Cubs. That's what he is. He's an optimist, and he believes, he's going to go to a lot more games in the future. He believes he's going to spring training in CubsCon. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope he bounces back health-wise. But we did talk a little bit about his legacy and stuff like that, and that's the 2-minute one if you want to put that one on there.
I will. Here it is.
So 2004, the last game of the season in 2024, last game of the season. That was the last time you were at Wrigley Field. I saw you at Cubs convention, And that's when, you started to have some trouble. But now this is just this whole season. We're almost into September. You haven't been to a game, and you are going to be going on September 7th, Sunday. And when you found out that you were going to be going, that there's going to be some arrangements made to make sure that you're there and that you're okay, what went through your head when they finally told you you're going back to Wrigley Field in 2025?
Well, it just a cloud came over my head. It just said, thank you. I always like coming to Wrigley Field. To go back there on the 7th, it'd be an honor to get back to Wrigley Field and see the Vine, see my fans, and see everybody, the media, and just cheer on the Cubs, and we get to this World Series.
Yeah, and hopefully they do. Is there something in particular that you're going to be looking for when you go to that game? Is there going to be kind of just that feeling that you overcame so much this year and you're finally back where you're happiest?
Well, I feel that me going up back to Wrigley Field for the first time this year, it's amazing. And God is good. He knows how much I care for the Cubs and how much I want them to win, and for the fans to come out and support me and see me. And I do it for the love of the game and for the fans, because without the fans, the ball players wouldn't be nothing. You should never forget the fans. And I try to draw fans to the ballpark. And it's just amazing how me going through what I'm going through now, I'm finally getting back out to Wrigley Field and go see the fans and see some green grass, maybe eat a hot dog and be happy. And thank God that I'm back at the.
And so that's going to be this Sunday. Probably get him in there about 11:30. He's not going to be able to hang out because he's going to be on oxygen. The nurses will be there with him, and just shout out to the Pearl for making it happen, and for Janet for keeping on it. And just real quick, I want to say it just kind of, hey, if I know the Cubs do not watch this show, I know the Cubs don't give a shit what I have to say, but I think it's, if anybody has any kind of influence at all on the Cubs, they should be involved in this. I don't know. Ronnie's one of the most famous fans, that probably the most famous fan the Cubs have ever had. And the fact that they haven't done shit for him, and it bothers me. And I hopefully that eventually somebody from them will reach out with a card, some flowers, something. They've done nothing. And I think that that's a shame. I told Janet I might be in the mood to start shaming them into it a little more publicly. So I don't know, but it's going to be a beautiful thing to get him back to Wrigley. That's how much he loves it. He's the spirit of fandom, and
the one thing he loves more than anything is just the fans. He loves being with the fans. He loves being amongst the fans, talking to Cub fans, and to not have that for so long, to go a year without that. I mean, I've never been, I can't even, like I said, I mean, the longest I've ever been without going to a Cubs game is usually just the off season. I couldn't imagine missing a whole entire year for someone like Ronnie Woo Woo. That's unthinkable.
In 2020, you got the shakes. You were
I was jonesing.
Yeah, by the end of May, you were rough, man. You get lockjaw. It was rough.
Yeah, I mean, we were literally
on a roof. You were like, I'm going on a roof.
We were opening day on a rooftop. I want to say it was in July. We went to the postseason. You couldn't keep me out of there. It was, and so he just wants. Sometimes you kind of feel a little bit forgotten, and that happens with old people sometimes when you get older. You kind of just feel like, hey, do people still care? And when all of a sudden, Danny, we started putting his address out there and just getting cards, and he loves the lotto tickets and he loves baseball cards. It doesn't have to be he doesn't need a $100 refractor card. Just any old Mitch Webster card just makes him smile. Okay, yeah, that guy, he used to leave me tickets at the front, just all that stuff. It's just little things that make him happy. And so if any of your if any of the listeners, I'm sure we could put his address, on our social medias and stuff like that, but he just likes it. It's something that makes him happy. And just hoping that people will come by and just kind of give Ronnie a cheer and a woo, woo, give him a little woo. And he can still woo, by the way. He can still woo. If you listen to the interview at the end, it's about 2 minutes of Ronnie at the end wooing, but it's a ton of fun. And I'm just looking forward to him just kind of smiling and going back to Wrigley.
And I did drop that link at least to the Apple podcasts for that episode, or actually for the whole podcast. So just go listen to Fly the Dove if you want to hear everything. You could also watch the interview too. I saw you were streaming that live today, and that's when I was like, oh, I want to have Crawly on to talk more about Ronnie Woo Woo. Yeah, well, thanks for doing that interview. I think it's, I was glad to see you did it, because I kept thinking, like, I should go interview Ronnie Woo Woo. I should go interview Ronnie Woo Woo. I've been thinking this for months, and then I was like, oh, good. I'm glad Crawly did it. So thanks for doing that. That's great that we have that, and also anybody can go visit. It's visiting hours are just regular daytime hours. You go up there, watch the game with him. He's kind of just in his room. So, anyway, anybody can go and say hi to him, tell him how you feel, and, talk about the Cubs. He, like you said, he's still really with it when it comes to talking about baseball and stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing more fun than especially catching a game with him and just watching and listen to him talk about the game and get excited. He's still, like I say, he's a kid at heart. He is a kid at heart.
So spread the word, 11:30 a.m. Wrigley Field, and we'll all be down there right after Johnny O's bachelor party on the day before. So we'll be no worse for wear, right? So why don't I just play a quick commercial break? Crawly, if you need to take off, go ahead and take off.
I got to go call Comcast and try to figure out why I'm paying so much for this high-speed internet.
Yeah, well, you got to feed the hamsters every now and again. They're spinning that wheel for you, running that thing. So, all right, well, Spagog, my friend, and we'll see you this weekend.
Spagog, this weekend's going to be a lot of fun. Sammy Sosa, Derek Lee, and Ronnie Woo Woo, 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Later.
The Bleacher Bunch brings you great shows like Sun Ranto, Cubs PS Plus, Bricks Behind the Ivy, Cuppa Cubby Blue, and Baseball Rabbit Hole. But you could be getting so much more when you subscribe to our Patreon page for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/BleacherBunch. Get access to our exclusive daily show Cubs Pod, where we recap every single game. Plus, be the first to hear Cubs music, get early access to events, and receive an invitation to join our Discord Cubs community, where fans just like you show up every day to rant and rave about our beloved boys in blue. Most importantly, 10% of your Patreon pledge will go directly to help the Lost Boys Youth Baseball program. So join us. There are perks at every level, like the Renter Calendar, absolutely free, and name recognition for you or your business. We are independent Cubs podcasters, and we need your support. Otherwise, we'll quit. Seriously, we'll all quit. Some of us might even die from your lack of support. In fact, the cutest little puppy you've ever seen will die if you don't support the Bleacher Bunch at patreon.com/BleacherBunch. We promise to spend all the Patreon money on tickets and beer and all the dog crap we have to buy just to keep our podcast rolling. So give us your money, and we'll waste it far better than you will. Patreon.com/BleacherBunch. Free trials are available, but don't do a free trial. Just join, okay? Okay. Patreon.com/BleacherBunch.
In the clutch, in the clutch. Buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Take it from the Bleacher Bunch. You'll love the shirts from In the Clutch.
In the Clutch shirts are comfortable, stylish, and guaranteed to get you laid. Plus, they're proud sponsors of the Bleacher Bunch. Use promo code BleacherBunch for 10% off your purchase.
Nice to feel and soft to touch. That's why you will get laid so much. Wearing a shirt from In the Clutch. And you can thank the Bleacher Bunch.
In the Clutch, in the Clutch. Buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Remember the code Bleacher Bunch. Save 10% at In the Clutch. In the Clutch. In the Clutch.
In the Clutch shirts actually not really guaranteed to get you laid.
All right. Now it's just me and Sarah. This is almost like the other show we do, the Cup of Cubby Blue show.
Oh yeah,
Almost.
the
Except
show
for
that we should probably do more frequently. I've been traveling a bunch, people. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's just been a busy time, a busy summer. And now the summer's over and we get into really the home stretch of the season. So it's but first of all, hashtag chance in the chat if you'd like to win that Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. So yeah, home stretch. How are you feeling about it?
It's whatever. Like, I was going to add to your list before you asked me directly about the Cubs, like also the impending fascism. Like that's fun. Like that's a real motivating factor.
You like my new hat?
I love your hat. I'm sure people are really like interested in my takes on Kyle Tucker's approach at the plate while we're like canceling street festivals because of ice. Like I can't handle these people. Anyway, like the Cubs are fine. The Cubs, I wrote about this today for Bleed Cubby Blue, actually a little bit over there we call the short porch. And 99.8% chance to make the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. Only like a 4% chance to win the division. That's not really their fault. The Brewers got otherworldly hot for a while there. The Brewers had an 11-game win streak, and then they like lost a few games, and then they had a 14-game win streak, and like just fuck them. That's ridiculous. Like the Cubs' longest win streak this season, 5 games, Danny. 5 goddamn
they are
measly games. Although their longest losing streak, 3 games. So they're just like this. They win some games, they lose a game. They win some games, they lose a couple games. That's just like, it's like the most meandering.
They're like an index fund.
A very high floor team, and it is extremely boring.
Yeah,
and frustrating, honestly.
They're like just buying the S&P 500 with about half bonds. Like we're going to take the conservative approach. I mean, and they're that way with everything.
Like the numbers going up. It's like, I don't know.
Like people were losing their minds yesterday when Cade Horton was taken out of the game in the middle of a no-hitter because he's on a pitch count. And I'm like, why is anybody surprised that this is how it operates?
Well, not even that though. Like Cade Horton is just off an injury through like 88 and a third innings last year or something crazy, and has already thrown 132 innings this year. Like if the Cubs let Cade Horton go too long or get too tired or throw, one wrong move, it could all fall apart. They need him for 5 innings from now until hopefully deep in October. So everybody just needs to chill the fuck out.
And you're really far ahead in the wild card. Yeah. We're really far ahead in the wild card. So it would take a pretty big disaster, and it's not going to all rely on Cade Horton pitching 2 more innings or something, If
it does, it's already over. Like, just enjoy it while it lasts.
And they did manage to take 2 or 3. They did not win the Horton game because they couldn't score runs again, but that'll happen. But it happens too much lately, and you just worry about dudes that have been slumping when the whole offense slumped. I guess Kyle Tucker got his little break. PCA's been getting a break. And good. This is what I've been wanting to happen all year. And if you had a better bench in the first place, you could have been doing it all year and cycle these guys out, keep everybody healthy. But they didn't do that. They just played everybody till they were ground into the ground, and then you had to like do all these emergency moves, seemingly.
Well, they are cornering the market on 40-year-old right-handed first baseman. So
oh yeah. I
got
do
that going for us.
Have you seen this graphic? It's hilarious. It's the 40-year-old virgin, but it's like Justin Turner is the 40-year-old first baseman, and then Carlos Santana is also in the 40-year-old version, and it says another 40-year-old first baseman. That's for the podcast listeners. I had to.
Oh, that's so good.
Isn't that funny?
So good.
Oh man,
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, and exactly. It's like, wait, did we have that guy? Wait, we need another one of those guys? All right. Well, I guess that's what you're going to do with your expanded roster.
Listen, man, they can't get rid of Evil Gimli. He has brought them this far, and he is doing the Evil Gimli bit, and he is basically the Cubs mascot, but he's a mascot that takes up a roster spot. But what would happen to the team. If they did not have Justin Turner to look up to, he is the glue holding this whole experiment together. It has nothing to do with whether Kyle Tucker is hitting or not. It has everything to do with making sure you don't cut Justin Turner and you stock up reserve 40-year-old first baseman just in case something happens to one of them.
Bring back Frank the Tank, too, while we're at it, shall we?
Why can't Anthony Rizzo be my reserve 40-year-old first baseman? He's not even 40. He's like 36.
He's too busy going on podcasts with Eric Wheelo, is why. Speaking of people who are joining podcasts, luckily, Mike Waller from the Cubs PS Plus podcast has power. We weren't sure if it was going to work out, but you're all lit up. You even got a Cubs PS Plus sign lit up, unless that's LED run.
Yeah, so far, no, so far so good. We are getting a storm, but I live in a part of Charlotte with a lot of big old trees, and sometimes we get those big storms and they drop limbs, and they drop limbs where they drop limbs, and never know when my power is going to go out. So,
well, welcome. We're talking Cubs, taking 2 or 3. You saw them get carved up by that dude Wentz. Struck out 8 times, but they managed to win that game.
I am talking 40-year-old first baseman to be.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm talking Jed Hoyer's latest obsession, 40-year-old first baseman.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's their answer to the bench, I guess. In fact, they're so excited about it, they picked up Billy Hamilton as well. Did you see that? Like in unnecessary moves from hell.
At least they didn't sign him to a major league contract.
On the 40-man roster under the wire, so he's postseason eligible.
Oh,
what was the corresponding move for him? I saw they signed him. I didn't see the corresponding.
You know what? I didn't see the corresponding.
Well, there was the one guy, Ben Cowles, that got let go.
Oh, yeah, but I think that was for
Santana.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the White Sox ended up picking him up. So,
one sec, I'll look it up while you all chat.
So he went from a great or pretty good organization to a horrible one. And, I mean, taking 2 or 3 to the break, we had the Carson Kelly game in that game 1. He drove in a bunch of runs, tied the game. Cubs fought back, won that one. But these games, including that one that ended up going extra innings, they were all very close. Braves haven't had a good year. They still got some good players. And they played us pretty darn tough and even beat us once.
So one thing I've seen lately, so when the Cubs face Verlander in San Francisco, he's had a terrible year. And I saw all the complaints about, we're losing to a 6 ERA pitcher or whatever and all that stuff. But when I watched Verlander pitch that night, the dude still has it occasionally. And what I saw that night was the actual Verlander movement. Like he had his velo, the pitches were moving. I remember he struck out Matt Shaw on just a particularly nasty pitch. And then for like 2 innings, we saw like the real Spencer Strider the other night. And sometimes it is luck of the draw. Like some of these pitchers that are having terrible years, they're still Justin Verlander, they're still Spencer Strider. And even though they're less than their full selves, what frustrates me is when we see the Cubs flail away against a bad pitcher or a good pitcher having a bad year who's clearly also having a bad night. I'm not bothered so much when Verlander looks like Verlander. Like he's just going to do that occasionally. Now it's going to be like 6 times a year as opposed to 25 times a year. But some teams are going to be the recipient of those 6 nights. But it's just the one thing I did like lately after the sweep in San Francisco, the last game in Colorado when they fell behind, Ian Happ hit the big home run to tie it. At least in those games, that one in the first game at home in the Carson Kelly game, they fought we saw a ton of that early in the season. We have not seen a lot of that lately. And it was good to see that fight. I think I called it out on Cubs Pod when I had the win in the Carson Kelly game. But they just they look like they're battling more than they were there for a while. It looked like it for a good stretch. And I can't remember the exact number, but they were calling it out on the broadcast. If the Cubs fell behind early, they lost something like 20 something games in a row. And there was just no battle back. And it's good to see that coming back. Hopefully the Kyle Tucker thing winds up being truly actually minor because dude was back before he got hurt. I mean, he didn't play it on that tight calf. He went 2 for 3 with a 3-run homer. Cubs need him down the stretch for sure.
Well, and not just down the stretch, but in the actual too. I mean, if otherwise, like, what was the point? Yeah, and it's kind of weird how they're shuffling the chairs. Casey goes down, Alcantara comes up. They're just different skill sets, but they don't play anyway, so who cares? Because you're just gonna put Castro or you know,
Because you got to have the 240-year-old first baseman.
yeah, exactly.
Well, and like I guess the only thing you get from Alcantara that you don't get from Casey is that he can play center credibly. He can also play each corner position, so you get a little bit more outfield versatility. Casey has more pull side power. Alcantara has probably a better approach with less power.
Yeah,
like it's like a, it's a very like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other type of trade, and you get center field eligibility.
Both of these.
I was just going to say really quick, the problem I have with how they've already used Alcantara, and admittedly it's been like 2 games, but hear me out. Why is Willie Castro in center field when Kevin Alcantara just got here yesterday? And you're giving Pete Crow Armstrong a day off. Kevin Alcantara is the guy. Willie Castro is like an interesting utility knife, and he is slightly better than Vidal Brujan. And I do emphasize the word slightly because he's just not been very good offensively for the Cubs. He had like 3 big hits initially, and then it's been nothing from Willie Castro. And so the idea that you were going to be like, Kevin Alcantara, you had a really good game, go sit on the bench for Willie Castro is absurd.
Well, and both Alcantara and Casey on probably at least a third to half of the major league teams would have been up almost all year long, probably playing left and center for the team because they are major league ready ball players that should be given like some run at the major league level at the very least. They haven't gotten any because they're totally blocked. And they shouldn't be either because Ian Happ, he had a home run this week. He seems to be coming out of whatever thing that he was going through at this point.
His numbers over the last couple of weeks are actually really good.
Exactly. But the streakiness, but like, I don't care. Why are you there every day more than anybody else on the ball club? Like you are once again, like a good tool to have on your team, but you don't need to be out there every day. And could you maybe learn to play another position?
Well, that's what frustrates.
Go do something.
I'd say that's one of the frustrating things we've all talked about it, but especially with Counsell, like when Ross was the manager, the bench hardly ever played, and I never really understood why. With Counsell, when he was in Milwaukee, the bench played all the time. Guys played, they rotated in, young guys got looks. And now he comes to Chicago, and it's the same stuff we saw with Ross all the time. And it's like the Casey for Alcantara move. If you're going to use Kevin Alcantara, I actually like the move because you're never putting Owen Casey in center field. So if you're going to get PCA out of the lineup occasionally against lefties, so he's not flailing away with a guy who's not going to play PCA level defense, but he's going to be competent in center field. Cool. I'm totally on board with that. Use one of the kids, but we're sticking Willie Castro out there after Alcantara made some good defensive plays the night before. And I know you were just saying this, Sarah, but it's the same mind numbing shit all the time.
Well, keep going. No, go. You're cooking.
Yeah. So, I mean, then you factor in we've complained about the bench forever. And I think you and I didn't hate the Justin Turner move early in the season because in his whole career, he's done one thing. He's always hit. But what has he not done this year? He hasn't hit. And now you've got a worse version of Turner in Santana. So you're carrying 2 of them. You've got Willie Castro, who I love the trade, but he's done nothing since he came to Chicago. And you can't always see that coming, but you have to deal with what you have. And that's pretty much the bench.
And he's a utility. He's a utility player. He's just a Swiss Army knife.
That
might have been my best bitch clock ever. It wasn't
exactly
well done, and I am here for it. 10-10. Recommend. I have a very small number of things that I would just like to tack on to every word. Yes, agree. Like imagine 2 roads diverge in the woods, and at the end of one road, there is Nick Madrigal.
I want the one Jed Hoyer's not taking.
Miles Mastroboni, Zach McKinstry, Ildemargo Vargas, like every rando.
You mean all-star Zach McKinstry?
Guy, all of them, all 17 of them. Ben Cowles, Gage Workman, all of them. That's one work. The other fork is aging first baseman not named Anthony Rizzo.
Yes.
Which one are Jed and Carter racing down? Gentlemen.
We want Eric Hosmer again 12 times.
Yeah, exactly. I said earlier, bring back Frank the Tank. Let's go. He's got to be good for a dong or two down the stretch. Why not? Get him on the 40 man. It's too late for postseason eligibility for Frank.
And back to the Willie Castro thing. Like when they first picked him up immediately, that very first series, first game, Dansby Swanson gets a day off. Oh my God. We're getting Dansby Swanson a day. He plays better when he's rested. And then the next day, Nico got the day off. If that's how you're going to use Willie Castro's, get those guys off their feet once every week or two. I guess before they called anybody up from the minors, maybe he's a better option in center field than sliding Hap over. But at this point, you have Kevin Alcantara. Why are you playing Willie Castro out there? If Willie Castro was on some hot stretch and you just want to find a way to get his bat in the lineup, okay, maybe. But he's had like 2 good games since he's been a Cub.
To be clear, I think the emergency center fielder, if anything were to happen, God forbid, to PCA, is not Ian Happ. I think it is Seiya Suzuki, and I am relatively certain Seiya has played backup center more recently. Seiya or Kyle Tucker both have played backup center more recently than Ian Happ. It has been years since Ian Happ has sniffed center field, which goes back to Danny's point about like, how did Ian Happ get so non-versatile? Like when he came up, he was playing second, he was playing center, he was playing. What happened? Did Ian like he wasn't like a bad second baseman? I don't remember.
And he took all his early cues as a young player from Ben Zobrist. Like that was one of his main mentors throughout his early career.
I mean, I think we saw with him early in his career all the struggles he had. I think, and he has talked about this on the compound to some extent. He was a guy who didn't really perform until he had his comfort zone. And some guys are like that, and that's okay. Not everybody can. There's a reason why Ben Zobrist was special, and not very many guys can be effective in all aspects of the game when you show up with 4 gloves and you don't know what position you're playing when you walk in. But to that point, like you said, he was set up that way, and now he literally never moves unless he goes to DH occasionally because they're sticking somebody else out there. But he's got to get more days off.
And God forbid Ian Happ like change where he hits in the lineup. That's a banner day here in Wrigleyville. Like, I mean, he started to move eventually this season, but it was like, I don't know, man, can't move Happ out of the leadoff position for hashtag reasons. Like we're just unable to imagine any of it. Anyway,
it's all a mess, and it seems like it takes too long. Not that you want to be told knee-jerk reaction about things, but it seems like it takes too long to make any sort of adjustment to the lineup, the batting order. Like they need like a month of data of it going terribly for them to finally be like, hey, I don't think this is working. Meanwhile, like us that are all watching it is like, what the hell are you doing? Like Michael Busch shouldn't be leading off all the freaking time, even though he's pretty good. Like he might not be the right choice, you know.
And to that point,
Nico should have been the guy like ages ago. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Yes, you're right, Nico.
So personally, I don't love Nico leadoff, but it's fine. I won't complain if he's there. But
contact versus on base percentage, right? Anyway, continue.
Right. Well, now we got Billy Hamilton, so now we have a problem.
Okay, Billy Hamilton cannot get on base. Like the problem is not
somebody else has to get on base, and then he goes
and run or not. The problem is that he cannot get himself on the base.
Yes. So one thing I have is with the batting order, I understand why they pulled Hap out of the leadoff spot and did all the different things, tried different things. Now that Hap's hitting again, why isn't he back at number 1? Michael Busch shouldn't be hitting 1.
That's fair.
And this team, when they put up the best offense, Hap wasn't even going well. But the best offense this team put up was with Hap at the top of the order. And everything slots better because you can put, if Tucker's healthy, you got Tucker and say it 2-3 or 3-2, whichever order you decide to do it. You can slot Busch in 4th. Then you've got, Dansby or whoever can hit 5th. I really kind of like Nico 6th. Like how often when he's in that part of the order, does he come up with guys on base and makes contact? But
I hear that. Nico has such a good contact tool that I want it in the game more frequently.
Yeah, like maybe second.
I don't want him losing an at-bat a game because he's hitting 6th versus 1st.
You can go Hap Nico 1-2. I mean, I know everybody wants Tucker there, but like, what happened to the best hitter being the third guy? You know,
well, Tucker is the best hitter. Like, I don't have any problem with that.
Well, but he can come up in the first inning, go third. You know, so
well, and in the beginning of the year, it was pretty clear that the best 2 hitters on the team were Seiya and Tucker.
Yeah,
but Seiya's been in a funk for so long, he probably shouldn't still be top 3. But I do love Seiya, and I do like him there when he's going well.
When he's going, yeah.
Why doesn't Seiya ever swing at a first pitch?
The thing is, he does, and when he does, he's successful.
Yes. He watches the first strike so frequently it is starting to drive me crazy. Like I feel like I'm like, Seiya, just blindly swing. It's probably going to be a strike. It is almost always a strike, and he is almost always watching it.
But he also used to drive me nuts. I spent my whole life watching Sandberg do that, and he made it all the way to the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure that dude ever swung in the first pitch strike.
And it's not that these guys are going through slumps. That's going to happen through a season where, you know, you have a couple weeks where things aren't going well, and then you come out of it slowly or sometimes like quickly. But that's not the issue. The issue is that it seems like it takes at least a week too long before the Cubs finally like, you know what, we should make a move. And it's like, they're not watching this. They're not being anticipatory. Now, I'm not saying you pull a Joe Madden and change everybody around every single day, but it would be nice if some of these guys, are they just that inflexible? Like, that's a real question. Like we talked about Ian Happ, like, oh, I have to play left field every day, otherwise I'm going to suck. Like, is that where they're like, oh, I gotta, you know what I mean? Like, some people are like that, you know what I mean? Like, remember, like, some people have to play the field and they can't DH for shit because they got to be in the game. They're mind waters. Like, I mean, they all got their ways, but I would like to see a little bit more flexibility from the lineup, and I feel like it would go a little bit better if they could anticipate some of this stuff happening that seems so obvious to us fans.
I just have to say, Danny, that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen you do, and it was super, I don't know why it's cracking me up so much. You should not, 100% should not cut that as a standalone, because there's a whole army of misinformed bros out there who are like, all against Ian Happ, and I really don't want them to have any good ammunition for an utterly stupid
He's great. No, Ian Happ's
an utterly stupid campaign. Ian Happ is a above average hitter. He's an above average left fielder. He's not, in my opinion, a Gold Glove left fielder, but we can have that argument another day. Like, I know he technically has multiple Gold Gloves. I just think a lot of that is incumbency at this point, and the fact that he throws guys out because they don't think he's a good left fielder. But anyway, that's a whole other day.
Great at bats.
What was that?
Takes maybe the best at bats on the team.
He is an on base machine. He is good for 20 home runs every year. He is an above average base runner. He hits for power. He hits for not really like high average, but like not abysmally bad average.
Switch hitter.
It's solid average for today's baseball.
The 260 rate. He is Timu Brian Reynolds, and Brian Reynolds is great, but like also just like one of these guys, you're like, Brian Reynolds is great, you know. Ian Happ is wonderful. If all players were Ian Happ, you might need like 1 star, but like you'd be pretty happy about it, right? Like you wouldn't have anybody being bad.
It's kind of how the Cubs are, to be honest. They're both a bunch of
Ian Happ. Kyle Tucker is a star, and like I've gotten into some arguments with people on Blue Sky about this because they're like, "Oh, he's not flashy," and blah blah. I'm like, "Well, you don't have to be flashy to be a star." Like Kyle Tucker is one of the 10 best hitters in baseball, and he's a good defender, and it's not really all that arguable that he's not a star. Like he might not want the spotlight the way like an Aaron Judge gets the spotlight, but you know.
The flashy thing is hilarious because Aaron Judge is not flashy.
Right.
And except for the two-way thing, Shohei Ohtani is pretty boring. I mean, he's fun to watch because I love baseball, but he's not a big flashy guy making big scenes. And the thing with Happ is
Jose Ramirez, honestly.
Yeah. The thing with Happ that annoys me is fans act like he's a superstar or is supposed to be a superstar. He never has been. He's not paid like one. And talk about guys that perform to their contract. Yeah. People complain about the deal, and I get the no trade clause thing, but he's probably outperforming his contract, honestly. I mean, or he's right there.
He's
Well-
just blocking guys that should be up and playing.
But that's no. Mike is making a really important point that people have not grappled with, which is that the Cubs are exactly in the sweet spot of like every consultant spreadsheet with Ian Happ in terms of like he should be paid this and he does this and he does it every day and it's great. And the reason that's important is because the odds that either Kevin Alcantara or Owen Casey or anyone else in the Cubs system is that level of productive are extremely small. Like, I'm not saying that because I don't like Owen Casey. I'm not saying that because I don't like Kevin Alcantara. They might be great. They could be better. They could be worse. But like in the bell curve of probabilities for where Ian Happ lives and where a future prospect would live, like if the bell curve is like this, right? Ian Happ is way the hell over here.
He's
Like,
at least
there are
85th percentile.
Yeah,
plus.
there are some guys that are better than him in the like Aaron Judge God tier, but like Ian Happ is in the solid major leaguer,
tier,
sometimes all-star. You want him on your team. You will put him at left field and be happy about it for the next 5 years, and it's not going to cost you too much. Most prospects land somewhere on the 50th percentile, 51 percentile over here, right? So like, and Casey and Alcantara have problems. There's strikeout issues.
Yeah.
There's like holes in swings. There's things that have kept them from being up. I think my biggest gripe with this whole situation, not to go on yet another Jed Hoyer sucks rant, I'll try to keep it brief, but like is that Alcantara and Casey should have been traded a year and a half ago at the peak of their value. And people are like, oh, dreaming on Kevin Alcantara might be a 40 home run all-star outfielder who's ranked in the top yada yada of the prospect list. And that's when you trade Kevin Alcantara. That's when you trade Alexander Canario the second he hits 38 home runs. You trade, which the Giants did, by the way. Good on the Giants. That you trade Owen Casey the second people are seeing 40 home run power, writing about it and putting him in the top 30. Like you do not hang on to these guys on the off chance that you might need a replacement for Ian Happ, and maybe one of them might be kind of as good as Ian Happ. And I mean, there's just the high likelihood that both of them are worse than Ian Happ, period, the end.
Well, and especially when you're talking about Ian Happ for the rest of this season and next year, which is all he's under contract for. So the odds that it's even lower that those guys are as good as Ian Happ in the next 15 months. Career-wise, they may pass him, but it's probably not going to be by the end of 2026.
Yeah, and also Ian Happ could maybe play for a long time. Like, I mean, there's with the production that he's giving right now, I mean, most people would take a guy if he could still hit 20 home runs in 5 years, he's still here, you know. Well, we do have another team coming to town. The Braves, they took 2 or 3. Or we took 2 or 3, and now the Nationals coming to town. They're worse.
Are the Nationals actually a team?
Not really. I was looking at their numbers, and it's pretty bad. Although they did just sweep the Marlins, so they're playing the best ball of the year.
Nice.
But they really had a horrible September. Sorry, horrible August. Thank you. A horrible August, going 9-19, but they're undefeated in September thus far because of that sweep. And right before the sweep, they lost 8 in a row, though. So they got swept a few times with that. And then the Cubs did play them in D.C., and they outscored them 15-6. And, of course, in very Cub-like way, they took 2 or 3 and did not sweep the Nationals.
The Cubs did not play this Nationals team in D.C. They played a team wearing the same laundry that had some different guys on it.
Yeah, the Nationals traded off again, right?
Well, they sold off, but there's also just like some weird, like I just looked at the 5 pitch guy, like the next 5 pitchers for the Nationals. And there were definitely 2 guys I was like, that's a dude who pitches in Major League Baseball. What?
Yeah, I know. I saw that
try
too.
To follow this.
Yeah, I did see that 18th rounder with a 434 named Brad Lord on Saturday. Brad Lord. We're facing the Lord.
I'm sure that'll go well. Who's going up against the Lord?
I think Boyd.
It won't be the Jaguar.
My money's on Matt Boyd.
Yeah, Boyd versus the Lord, but that's on Saturday. On Friday, tomorrow, Jake Irvin, which is that is
Well,
probably
yeah,
the guy you
I
were
at least
talking
heard of
about. Who
him.
the hell's that guy?
I had heard of him.
He's got a 5.42 ERA.
Yeah, he's been pitching for a while.
He's going up against Assad, who, we'll see. But probably give us 5 innings, maybe give up 3 runs. A typical Assad sort of start is
He's
what
been
I'm
pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it.
I'm glad he's back. Hopefully he can stretch himself out, get stronger. But but Brad Lord, I'm excited about. Then we face a lefty named, which I don't like, named Andre Alvarez, who's a 12th rounder, he's only got 5 innings pitched in the major leagues. And we don't even know who
was the other one.
throwing.
I was like, I missed this. I didn't even know this guy existed.
Yeah, and I don't know who he's going to go up against. Maybe Ray?
Colin Ray has been perfectly serviceable this year. I have a theory about him, though, and it works in our favor against the Nationals. Colin Ray has a handful of bad starts here and there, and I think all of them are against teams that have seen him before. I think his whole thing is like where he locates his variety of pitches and that being unpredictable. And so teams that have seen him before have like some data on, this guy's going to do this, which is why Colin Ray is like nails when he's up against the Nationals or like the Athletics or like the Angels or something like that. But when you put him up against, say, the Cardinals, who see him multiple times a year, they're like, no, we're not falling for that again, bro. And then they're like, you throw 92 and we are going to hammer that.
Yeah. And I seem to have gone to an exorbitant amount of his starts this year when I have gone to the game at Wrigley. I'm like, who's going tonight? Oh, God damn it, Colin Ray again. So
he does at least keep you in a ball game for the most part.
Well, and like you said, the Nationals are terrible. So really anybody could look good against them if you try hard enough. And hopefully he's out there doing, because I looked up some of the stats and they're terrible at everything offensively except for stealing bases. That's the only thing they do. If they get on base, they're gonna be stealing probably because they are fast. They have the second worst team ERA in baseball. They've got the worst bullpen ERA, even worse than the Rockies, who they're neck and neck with in almost every terrible offensive category there is. And pitching category there is. And defensively, they have the second worst defensive efficiency ratio. So that's probably a lot of youth making a lot of mistakes, but they're just pretty much average with the errors. But their catchers are okay. Keibert Ruiz, he throws out some runners, and Riley Adams, who I'd never heard of, but he seems okay too.
Riley Adams is a cousin of a friend of mine.
Really?
Truly. Like Dr. Meredith Wills, who cuts up the baseballs, the physicist. Yeah, they're like cousins somehow. Anyway.
Interesting.
Wild fact.
Anyway, they've got some young players.
I have to amend one thing you said about the Nationals in running, because they do run a lot. That is true. And they also get thrown out a lot. So they have, I think, the 7th most stolen bases as a team. And they have the 4th most caught stealings as a team. Now, some of that is just taking advantage of opportunity. And I haven't dove into the ratios enough to know if they're running too much or not. But I do think that it's worth saying that we could throw a lot of Nationals out too if the catchers know what they're doing at all.
Yeah, well, that's kind of our game as well. We're ahead. I think we're both at 30%. Like our Cubs catchers throw out 30% of runners, National catchers throw out 30% of runners, which is at the top of the league. That's nearly 1 in 3 that you're going to get the guy. All right. Well, this weekend on Saturday, it's Johnny Onomatopoeia's bachelor party. And we're all getting together in the bleachers, and we'll be there on Saturday hanging out in left field. And then afterwards, Johnny Onomatopoeia is my old drummer from New York City, like my old band from the early 2000s, late 90s, God the Band. Johnny, that's what we were called. We got a couple albums out there if you want to check out God the Band. We were a psychedelic performance rock band. Listen to the album Rock. That's the album that broke up the band. It's a hell of an album. But Johnny's got a track on there. And I'm going to put up the picture of Johnny. It's a Bleacher Bum Band and friends. We're going to be right after the game, post game, at Output Wrigleyville. It's free. This is on Saturday, September 6th. Johnny Onomatopoeia is going to sing a couple numbers, a couple of the songs that we did at his 40th birthday when we put together a band for that out in LA. And we're going to do some of those. And Eric Wheelo is going to come play bass guitar on those tracks too. So you get to see Eric Wheelo perform, Johnny Onomatopoeia play some rock and roll, Bleacher Jeff will be rocking the guitar. We'll be at Output. So if you're around on Saturday, definitely come to that. And I think we're all set for our Cincy get together too. I know Mike Waller, you'll be joining us in Cincinnati. Sarah, I don't even know. We haven't even hung out. Like, we're going to Cincinnati if you want to go. On
I vaguely, when are you going to Cincinnati?
September 20th. We're going to Cincinnati. And if you go to Sunranto, you don't have to do this, Sarah. I'll get you a ticket. But so if you can go, but sunranto.com/events. I did put the final number in to Billy and Alicia, Billy DeVore. They're going to get us tickets. But if you still want to go, they haven't bought the tickets yet because they haven't been down there. Don't seem too worried about it, I guess. But I'm apparently nobody wants to go to the Reds game, including
I might be into this. I've never been to Great American Ballpark. It's on the list. I am around that weekend. There is one thing I need to check on to make sure it has not come through as a plan. But yeah, I might be into this. I've never been to Cincinnati. I'm not eating their fucking chili though. Like, that looks disgusting, and I'm not.
You're
out.
right. You're chugging it from a beer bat.
No, I'm not.
Billy DeVore.
Listen, you could nope. Somebody else can have my chili. I'm out.
So, but I know Waller will be there too, and we're gonna do like a live podcast there over at Binsky's Bar before the game. And if you want to go, Andy Wells says he'll be there. And I know he lives in the area, but anyway, we're going to all be hanging out there. Even if you don't get in on this group tickets that we're getting, there's about 15 of us right now that'll be all hanging out together. And then, but we'll be at Binsky's Bar beforehand, which is in the Camp Washington neighborhood at 3 p.m. We're doing a live pod. We'll be taping it. Maybe we'll try to live stream it if we get some internet. And anyway, that should be a hell of a lot of fun. And
yeah, we'll chat immediately after this. I'll ask some questions. We'll go from there.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, anybody else have anything to add? I mean, I think we've run the gamut. We had Ronnie Woo Woo content galore from Crawly. I think I feel a little bit better getting some of the shit off my chest about my problems with the current Chicago Cubs situation. So hope you guys do too.
I have one thing if I can bring it up.
Please, yeah.
So it's an interesting stat I saw. So this is from TJ Stats, Thomas Nestico. He's always got some interesting stuff out there. So he pulled a stat meltdowns. Fangraphs defines it as a meltdown is a time when a reliever's win probability added is less than or equal to 0.06 in any individual game. So it's a game where basically a reliever came in and stunk up the joint. And it's interesting because even I, who am probably more positive about the Cubs bullpen than most people, did not see this one coming. I was like, where are they in the top 10? And the Cubs are third best in baseball at 63. And it's really not surprising if I think about it. I mean, you talk about those big game situations. Brad Keller has been fantastic. Palencia in a closer situation is amazing. They need to stop putting him into non-save situations. But
me and Sarah are dancing because we're listening to Gasolina in our heads right now.
Exactly. We need that every time. So the bullpen's been pretty good, but as far as the meltdowns, like when the Cubs have one, Cubs Twitter and social media is all like, of course they do this all the time, but clearly they don't. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Can I say a thing about Gasolina off of this? Because I agree, the Cubs bullpen has been way better than people think it has. And I have a handful of friends who are constantly just DMing me in my mentions, tweeting or texting me, whatever messenger Cubs. I'm in some different Cubs DMs or whatever. And people are like, oh my God, the bullpen is terrible. Why can't we ever have a good bullpen? Like, the bullpen is the worst. And I'm just like, I do not think you are aware of how bias works, because this bullpen has actually been legit good.
Or how bad everybody else's bullpens.
We have suffered through some bad bullpens, but I think everybody thinks their bullpen is bad. It's one of those things where the bad stuff stands out more than the good stuff. And it's real easy to miss like a 15 inning scoreless streak from your bullpen, but you see the second that they gave up an extra innings game with the stupid Manfred man on immediately. And I just think people have a bias there that they should be more cognizant of, because I agreed. I saw that tweet as well, and I thought, of course, the Cubs are doing really well here. They have a good bullpen. Daniel Palencia's walkout is elite. It
really is
so good. And I don't know who on the Cubs pulled this all together, and kind of watched it come together in pieces over August, and it wasn't quite all the way there yet.
His last one was just absolutely fine.
Last one
the
was
best one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It was so good. And I did not pull my phone out to record it for you because I just wanted to experience it in my seat. But the way the stadium goes dark and you hear the revving, and then Palencia comes out, and then the lights start to go in the beat of the music, it is legit amazing.
Electric.
And fun fact that I saw, Daniel Palencia has the second most pitches over 100 miles per hour in the majors this year.
I assume behind
one
Mason
Paul
Miller.
Skeens.
Behind more than Mason Miller.
Maybe more. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I might be wrong. There might be a qualifier here. I'll look this up again. Don't quote me on that. But I saw a thing like while I was MLB.
He has to be up there, whether it's 2 or 3.
He's way up there. He has so many freaking 100-mile-per-hour or more pitches. I will look this up and get it back to you. But anyway, it is so good. It has been, I don't remember the Cubs having a closer where I felt like this, where they had that kind of entrance, where they had that kind of dramatics, where we're going to go into
never had
September.
The lights before. They
never had the lights. They never had the ability to do all of that. They never really.
They were just starting to with Alzolay until he.
Yeah, they were.
Hurt.
They never like they didn't lean into Craig Kimbrell coming out to like Sweet Child of Mine or whatever it was. Like this is good, y'all. This is like very good, and it's Daddy Yankee, and it's so good.
Yeah, in this particular moment, to have a song in Spanish, like rocking at the end of a win too, in our city of Chicago, which is about to get invaded. Ice
might just take everybody out of the stadium next time Palencia comes in.
Yeah, exactly. They might go grab Palencia, these fucking bastards. But
he's throwing 102. He's coming out to Gasolina. It is gas. It is. You don't even need to know anything about Spanish to know how good this is. And like even my favorite, I was in the grandstand for last night's game, and last night. The white ladies were getting into everybody was dancing. It was
it is the best song since Starlin Castro's.
It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rizzo's was pretty good, and of course, we all loved Ben Zobrist's walk up. You're like, how I miss hearing Betty. But no, it was, and with the lights and everything, my only concern, and I'll be the old man that yells at the cloud for a moment, is that it's, Daniel Palencia is a little new at this.
It's gonna be fine.
And he gets a lot of base runners on. He's certainly blown a couple saves in the last month, or they've even had him at garbage time to work out his kinks, and now there's like, and here's my other question. When they bring him out at garbage time to work out kicks like they were, does he still come out to that song? Like if you're
sure,
losing?
Why not? So here's my beef with your whole take on there. Why can't we just have fun? That's what you talk about 90% of the time, but all of a sudden you're crapping on Palencia's walkout.
No, I'm more worried that it's going to give him a big head. I
want him to have a big head.
Yes.
I want him to have a head the size of Texas. I want him to come into impossible game situations and be like, fuck you, I throw 102. Gasolina, let's go. I want him to have the most outrageous belief in himself. And I want him to believe in himself so much that when something goes wrong, he's like, fuck you, I'm Daniel Palencia. I come out to Gasolina and I'm going to do it again. Yep. And I want all the theatrics all the time. This is so good. I've been wanting this. I wanted it for Alzolay. He got hurt. I understand why that didn't work. I'm still kind of devastated by it, but like Palencia is way better than Alzolay. He has better stuff. He throws legit gas, and he has been unbelievable in safe situations.
Well, and that's the thing. I think they need to let him learn, figure it out. There are guys who, when they're not in a safe situation, they're not as amped up, they're not as effective. If he's that guy, then adjust accordingly. But I'm okay with, especially right now, the Cubs are not, you guys probably talked about this before, the Cubs have very low odds of catching the Brewers. but there's also almost zero chance that they're going to miss the playoffs at this point. I mean, they're what 9-10 up over the Giants and Reds with 22 games to go. Like the Cubs would have to absolutely collapse, and those teams would have to go like 18-4. So now's the time maybe to try it out, but realize what he is. Save him for those save situations and go with it.
And you got a couple guys back there. I don't foresee Kittredge coming out to Gasolina in the same way, but
he's reliable. He'll
certainly is reliable, and you've got a few arms back there, like you said, Keller and at least for the 8th inning or however they want to mix and match it.
I have to say a thing here, and I apologize that I'm about to bring the mood down, up, depending on your perspective, a little bit after all of that lovely Gasolina coverage. Did y'all hear Ben Brown's walkout music yesterday?
No.
Ben Brown is walking out to Christian rock, and I do not know this particular song, but it is like a very obvious, like when I heard the riff, I was like, this is some worship music. Like I've never heard this, but I know that I want to be very clear for a second, because this is not a diss on Christian music. I think hymns are some of the best songs ever. Danny and I have sung Eagles Wings together. Like I am Catholic girl, guitar Catholic, not organ, through and through. I know all the goodies. I know all the verses. I was there. I went to Catholic school for like the first 8 years of my schooling. So I love that stuff, and it's wonderful. It's joyous. It's great.
It's not
walkout music, I think, in a way that like it was jarring to hear. And I was like, I think that I was like, what is this? I was sitting in the bleachers with some friends. I was like, what is this? What is this? And then they posted it on the thing, and it was like Psalm something or other by somebody I'd never heard of, featuring somebody I'd never heard of, and the word worship was in there. And I was like, okay.
Is it Juliana's pastor?
It was not, but I thought about Juliana, and that we actually had a conversation about Juliana next, right after this song. So, this is kind of why you reminded me of it with the Zobrist Benny thing.
Well, his belief in Jesus isn't helping his pitching.
I don't know that that's a good move right now. And I feel bad about that, honestly, because I love a good Catholic hymn, but I don't think I'd walk out to a Catholic hymn.
Can you imagine coming out to Eagles?
But yeah, I'm with you.
I'm coming out. If I ever get to be a baseball player in another life, I'm coming out to Eagles Wings. And he will raise you up.
If Ben Brown ever becomes closer, that is not going to work.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there a closer that had a hilarious walk-up music? Like he came out to like the Barney theme song or something like that.
There was. I can't remember who that was.
There somebody that did that? Song. Yeah, because that would
we
be
should
good.
Do a whole episode in the off season on the best closer walkouts ever. We can show them, and we can grade them, and we can like rank Daniel Palencia in them.
Well, I've never seen anything like that at Wrigley Field. The light show is cool with the W's that they do now, and to take advantage of that technology that they have with the lights is just freaking awesome. And I know the players probably love it too. It's exciting for them as well, to have that light show. Anyhow, I guess we have to give away the chance postcard. So why don't I do that, and then we'll call. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so
neither have I. I have pizza coming though.
Ooh.
Yum.
All right. So it seems like we have 8 people in the chat, but this is your last chance to get in the chance. So here we go. I'm picking somebody. Got Wrigleyville Bum, aka Joey Waltz, in there a couple times. Oh, but the winner is Alex Price. Congratulations. Got a picture of a little kitty. There's your avatar there. How nice. Congratulations, Alex. Michael Cotton's neighbor down there in Iowa. So, well, nice chatting with you guys, gals.
That was fun.
Gal and guy. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And maybe I'll see you this weekend, Sarah, hopefully. I don't know if you're around. We'll talk.
I think I have tickets Friday and Sunday. I think I already have. I'm not sure where I'm sitting Sunday. I don't think I'm in the bleachers, but I'll come find you all and do whatever.
Cool. Well, we'll be in the left field bleachers on Saturday, and anyway, come find us. Buy Johnny a drink. It's his bachelor party.
I'll be at the show for sure. I just don't know if I'm in the bleachers on Saturday. Sorry, I mixed up Saturday and Sunday.
Right on, but I could sneak you in if you want to get in there. So, thanks to Crawly. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Sarah. I'm gonna play a final song as we leave, which is us singing. This is at the first Ranter Fest. It's got some Ronnie Woo Woo singing "Fuck the Cardinals" as part of the song. Crawly's in this one too. Everybody is worse for wear in this video, let me tell you. But all right, so Spagog, y'all.
Spagog, fuck the Cardinals.